Hey everyone, my name's Walter and we're back here with a story from Reddit once again. This is part 3 of a video series I've been doing about this nice guy story, so I'll link to the first one in the description if you haven't seen it. Nice guys are men who talk about how nice they are and try to get women based mostly on this trait. This is an incredibly long post once again, so let's just get started with nice guy stories from Reddit. 4 years in uni with nice guy. This story comes to us from Reddit Nice Guy Stories. Last time I stopped right after the intro to an email this guy wrote to a teacher. I might decide to omit things if they get too boring or repetitive, but we'll see. My side of the story. In the 3rd year, during the corona quarantine, things are slowly changing. She spoke less and less to me and didn't want to meet anymore. She was sometimes irritated out of nowhere for no reason, and this happened more and more, but she always laughed with me and apologized afterwards. But okay. On December 1st, we were both invited to a birthday of an old classmate/friend. After the birthday, we both went to the train. I asked her, "Is everything still alright between us? Are we still friends?" To this, blank replies that we are no longer friends. There has been no further conversation at that point, since I stood still and blank walked to the train. I took a train home a little later. If you recall, she actually said that they were never friends to begin with. And this happened because he was pouting over her at the party. A day later, I asked blank, through WhatsApp, how this happened so suddenly. She tried to explain this in her own way. I gave my side of the story to her and that I really don't understand this and don't understand her explanation after we've been good friends and hung out together for 2.5 years. Her explanation contradicted all of this, and I feel like she was frustrated with something going on and took it out on me, and also wouldn't/couldn't explain it to me for some reason that she wasn't comfortable telling me. I only spoke to blank very briefly on December 1st. Due to the quarantine, we hadn't seen or spoken to each other in a long time. And through WhatsApp, the last time was on New Year's Eve, the only way we kept in touch digitally. So already half a year by now. After that, I was just to school, and until now, I have never spoken or sent a message to blank in all this time. Ironically, because I also avoided her, I will also mention at that time, before I received an email from you about blank for the complaint, I had no idea that she was so disturbed by my presence, and this while I was already avoiding her myself. And now he's going to talk about the hard time he's been having. I'm not really mocking any of this stuff, just wondering what going through emotional things excuses about harassing someone. It reminds me of Twink Toilet, a man from To Catch a Predator who said he went to meet a 13-year-old boy because his best friend's mom was dying of cancer. Great excuse. I've been through a lot of emotional stuff in the past 2 years. Working from home in isolation for a very long time. Only work and no fun, and this without the school making it easier for us. I understand it was new to everyone, but still. I don't need to explain that this is anything but fun and was stressful for everyone. Exercising was no longer possible on location, which also made it difficult to really keep moving and get rid of the stress. An internship that was only working from home didn't help either. It wasn't the most impressive internship, unfortunately. But I was thankfully and grateful to have an internship. It was nearly impossible to find one at the time. I also had to work a month longer in the summer, because I started my internship a month later, which was not nice with 30 degrees. My god, look at this, he's even blaming the weather. The minor game design and development also brought enough stress. I also had to do a lot of work on the design side, because they hadn't done a single thing and I was just overworked and all my hard work didn't even pay off, because we are only judged by our group, so my side of art only. Those jerks of design also got a 7, just like the artist, while they hadn't performed a single thing of work and actually get rewarded with my hard work. My cat Pino, who died of cancer. Me and my mother really did our best to help him get better, every week traveling half the country, but after half a year the cancer had won. Pino meant a lot to me. I already had him 18 years long, and he was my best friend who was always there for me. I had an argument with what were then friends in a WhatsApp group. Blank knows about this too. Well, the conflict was about nothing, but there was someone who made it worse than it was and put me out of the chat group and managed the chat group themselves. I'll go into this too. It wasn't really a conflict at all at first. Someone had sent a message about Philips adding a beamer system to a scanner for children so they could see Disney pictures. To this, I said that this kind of company is only doing this for their branding and trying to win souls, and these kind of tech companies let kids work in Asia to build their machines, and that they sell their machines for impossible prices so no developing country can buy something like those machines. Imagine explaining in painful detail some Discord drama to your teacher. Has anyone been keeping up with Billy Mitchell and his ridiculous lawsuits? I always wonder how stupid the judge feels having to sit there listening to hours of testimony about arcade machines from the 80s. I'd imagine this teacher feels much the same reading this. Subsequently, I immediately sent a new message that my previous message was a bit too negative and apologized for this. Well then, whoever sent that message about Phillips said they don't know what to say in the chat now, and went on seeking attention about this by creating unnecessary drama, and the person who later kicked me out got really in it. Despite me already apologizing in the beginning, this was not enough apparently. Well, the person who kicked me out was still obviously mad at me for saying a week earlier that Michael Jackson was a pedophile, and that FBI evidence, facts, and a whole lot of confessions show this too, and there's a clear pattern too in all the victims, which any psychologist could only confirm that he is one. Well, in short, that person saw the opportunity to throw me out of the chat and did so. But in all honesty, these people didn't really interest me either. At this point, I was still friends with blank. Yeah, very one-sidedly friends, apparently. I had already left the chat group a few years earlier myself, because I also had a conflict with the person who kicked me out and controls the chat group. Later in time, I returned to the chat group after a few months. If only I had never gone back into that disgusting chat group. Well, when I went out myself, there was also a misunderstanding between me and blank, who took it personally that I left without saying anything. When I spoke to her and told her that I didn't go out because of her, because I see our friendship as something, apart from a group, and I apologized to her for not realizing what misinterpretation that had caused, and for making her feel sad of me leaving the chat group. After this, blank also said sorry to me, and told me that we are friends, of course, and after that we became very good friends. He makes it sound like he just raised his confidant level in persona. I have no idea where he's going with this, by the way. He's said so many words already, and none of them matter. My grandfather, who had also been very ill for a while, just a few months before Corona started, but he only had a small leg infection, and unfortunately died of malnutrition. He was severely malnourished in the care clinic, and died on the day of New Year Eve in the morning. The whole situation was not easy, since care in the Netherlands is simply worthless, and even more so during Corona. The whole situation also brought enormous tension here and there between my mother, her two sisters, and her brother, as is often the case in these kind of situations. And small conflicts in general, that things just didn't get better with my grandfather, partly because he was not well cared for. They all did their very best to get their father better, but unfortunately without success. Blank also unfriended me not much later, after I was kicked out of the WhatsApp group, a bit of deja vu feeling, I guess. Frankly, all this put me in a depression at the beginning of the year, and I lost track of work. I couldn't take it anymore and avoided blank for this very reason. It's not easy for me when I see her, and I think she reads this from me too, but she's misinterpreting how I look. I'm still trying to pick up and recover all the missed work for my graduation, which isn't easy either. God, but I still haven't heard anything that could excuse his behavior. Though if he hasn't contacted her in 6 months like he said, I guess it couldn't be that bad anymore. Quick reminder of the pictures he's been drawing. The character with the short hair possibly being based on the OP, but he will deny this. Okay, I'm going to skip most of the next one, but look at what he says at the end here. I did not go to Victor's third lesson, because I read that blank also wanted to go, through the WhatsApp group. If you had asked blank for the dates, you would have known this too, or if you had asked Victor yourself, you would have known this too. I cannot but conclude that you have shown negligence, and that you are biased just because I am the man in this situation. He really does live in a different dimension. Everyone else in this story thinks the teacher is taking his side by only giving him a warning, but he sees a warning as some dire injustice that he has to type a novel about. Grow up, man. I will therefore explain my process of that character again. I made a series of some figures. All figures are the same proportions and posture. They only differ in clothing, style, hair, and color from each other. Their style is based on different futuristic themes. Of these figures, I had my teammates vote on which ones they wanted me to make and what they wanted to see, so I asked for feedback. Following this, I made the improved 2D drawing with the processed feedback and later turned it into a 3D character. I'll also go straight into the character's name, since it's probably also helped why blank thinks this. As a studio, we did a poll in which each team member came up with a name. I came up with the name Icy myself, since I wanted to make a tough futuristic mountain climber girl, like in the movie Aliens vs. Predator. And the name is just the English word for ice, Icy. The name that came out of the poll was Mira, a name that was thought up by someone else, and I wasn't happy with it because I prefer to give my characters their own name. You can check this if you think it's necessary. All 14 team members will say the same. I can understand that blank thinks this must represent her, since her name is like it, and the character has short hair, but come on. Mira has dark blonde hair, and really has a different face than blank. Mira even has big boobs. The character was created out of votes and feedback. It's not blank. I honestly don't understand at all what is meant by poses that blank also has, that you mention. Maybe I don't understand what it should be about. but you talked about a character that I made for a game. Yeah, I really like how he's in here, like dealing with a harassment claim or something, and he manages to bring up her breast size. That's a good idea. And he just gets more and more hyphy as this goes on. In physical circumstances that cannot be avoided, lesson or presentation, keep as much distance as possible and avoid contact. I already keep my distance from blank. I already did this, as I explained earlier. I usually sit on the other side or in a corner just to not get too close to her. That's why I don't think it's fair that I get such a response from you. Well, I assume that I'm just not allowed to work on my own education, and then must work from home alone. That is basically what you're telling me. Her image/likeness is not used in image products that are made public, digitally or physically, however small that public environment may be. I have already mentioned above that this was not the case. And yes, I know I don't have many followers. Thanks again. In the future, I appreciate it if you keep it professional and keep your opinion out of it. Did he really think the teacher was throwing shade at him for not having many followers? Yeah, I bet. Frankly, it now feels like blank is just being hindered by my existence. For obvious reasons, I won't do anything about it. Blank has indicated that she does not wish to discuss this at the moment. You therefore refrain from making overtures to possibly start such a conversation. I find it disappointing to hear that blank won't talk to me. I will also mention that I have attempted this conversation through you and have not sent a message myself to this date. The point of this conversation, as I said to you before, was to clear up all these misunderstandings and make this situation stop. The situation is getting worse and worse because of you as well, teacher, while I literally didn't do anything wrong in any way possible. But unfortunately, a decision is already made without paying attention to the facts, and even without asking questions or a proper investigation. This is also sexist, because the fact that I'm being judged this way is obviously because I'm a man, and it's just assumed that I'm the one who must be wrong in all of this. This is also slander of my good name. This guy still doesn't get it. There was no investigation because they decided to let him off with a warning. What's he bitching about? And he sure has a lot of words to write about someone he barely knows. He attached his words to the OP and sent that to the teacher too for some reason, color-coded in green. I am writing this piece addressed to blank. We only have a few weeks to go until the end of school. You clearly have no idea how much this hurt me and how hollow I felt inside because of it all. I'm disappointed in you that you don't even want to talk to me in person to resolve this. I never asked you anything except this face-to-face conversation with you to work this situation out. I really saw you as my best friend, and it is precisely for this reason that I find it very difficult to accept how you think about me now and how you have created this situation. It's not easy for me to see you either, because I do miss the time when we were talking and laughing about nothing. But I also notice that nowadays, when you see more and more, you are creating a negative image of me. I'm sorry about this, and don't want to make you unhappy either. I just don't understand why you got such a negative view of me. No regrets about our friendship. I don't regret our friendship. I've always loved hanging out with you, and doing all those things with you and helping you out occasionally. I don't regret helping you with anything either. I enjoyed helping you, and it also made me proud that you trusted me to help you. I can still remember saying to you that I was glad you trusted me to help you. If only I had never said that, because after that you did it a lot less. It seemed as if you were shocked of yourself that you trusted me so much. The last time I helped was with your internship letter, in the 3rd year. To come back to the internship letter and your portfolio, I'm actually just glad I helped you with that, because the internship letter you wrote was just dangerous for you. Promising you'll do everything if they hire you, then you clearly have no idea how dangerous some people are like to take advantage of others. Oh my god, as Chris Hansen would say, you're one of those weirdos. There's actually a lot more here, and I'm just going to read a bit more in this video. His delusional take on what happened. What I think happened between us. I've thought about this many times over this half year. I often thought about it, and if I had to give one reason why blank unfriended me, it's that we hung out too much in our 2nd year. This probably led to jealous friends of blank's harassing her about why she hangs out with me so much, and whether she is in love with me. Oh yeah, someone else was harassing her, not him. I also don't think it helped that I made a card on Christmas and on her birthday and sent it to her home address in Germany. This probably also led her parents to ask the same question of her, and maybe even encourage her to go with me. Because I can well imagine that your parents are not happy with your current relationship. I think this also gave blank a lot of stress, and instead of talking to me about this and then agreeing that we should hang out a little less, or take a rest moment in our friendship, or whatever conclusion would have come from it, blank had just blamed all her stress on me. And eventually she also came to believe that I'm the one who is responsible for all this. because you don't dare contradict others that you feel have authority over you, like your parents. Hanging out, laughing, and having fun together is something you were also just part of too, blank. It wasn't just me, we hanged out together. I also think that's why you subconsciously don't want a conversation with me, because you'd rather not be confronted with the truth. But I'm not going to play the bad guy. I won't do that for anyone, not even for you. That sure is a lot of shit he just made up out of nowhere, isn't it? Remember, she's in a relationship with another woman, so he's implying her parents are homophobic, or that they should be. Alright, I have to end this here. Next time, if there is a next time, we'll finish this insane letter. He ends it with a conclusion paragraph, of course, and it's pretty gold. And then we'll see what he messaged her right after receiving his warning. By the way, while this update was 10 months ago, the OP said as recently as 17 days ago that she's still working on a third and final post about it. Anyway, it's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say about the story or about my content in general, please let me hear it in the comments. I'll be reading those for the most part. If you're new here and want more content like this and other things I come up with, consider subscribing. It really helps my channel out. Speaking of helping my channel out, big thanks to my awesome patrons who help me out more directly. It's amazing that people do that. I'll be back soon, so let me know if you want more of this story. Have a great day, everyone, and don't you dare give me a warning. I want to be investigated properly.